This is Jackie. I'm here with Wage War at the 25th anniversary of the Vans Warped Tour. I think we spoke last year. Wait, first of all, have you guys fully recovered from the MySpace server migration of 2019?
I got asked this question like at the last festival, and I haven't logged into MySpace since.
Years.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Has anyone? Do you remember your password?
Yeah, because I only use like 3 passwords for everything.
Okay, fair enough. I mean,
Living dangerously.
I think we're okay. I think you're going to be okay. Apparently, some really, really ancient music got lost, and that's why everyone was freaking out. I don't know my password. It's not going to make a difference. You guys recently released the single "Low." How does it hint towards the following up of your EP of "Dead Weight" and things like that?
I would say it's like a smooth transition. We've got like a bunch of new music that we've been working on. Low will be on the record. I feel like it's got a cool blend of like the heaviness, like the melodic choruses and all that. It's definitely one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a teaser what's to come. We got a new record coming out later this year, like you said. And I mean, it's one of undisclosed number of tracks, but every track is different, and that's kind of like Low is kind of like a standard Wage War song, but everything kind of just like turned up to 10. So yeah, it's one of the tracks on that album, and we're super happy about it, and yeah, we're stoked.
You mentioned that each song is different. Is that because we're sort of in this music streaming era where you can release things at different times and have it represent you?
I think like for this next record, it was really organic. Like we finally got out of our element. We did the first 2 records in our hometown, and we went to LA for this next one. It just kind of put us out of our own, like, where we're usually comfortable with, and wrote some songs that like we're like, wow, like this is way different than what we thought, but it's still Wage War and it's still cool. So
Were you thinking that you needed to make it a cohesive and one specific message, or did you feel like you had more flexibility to kind of be diverse?
I feel like we kind of just let the songs happen as they were. It wasn't like trying to force an agenda, like this whole record has to be heavy or this whole record has to be melodic, anything like that. It was just we would sit down for the day, write a song, and no matter like what direction it was taking us, whether it was like this isn't something we've done before, this is something we've done, just like fully exploring those ideas and seeing where it takes us, like more than we have in the past. And I couldn't be more proud of like what we've created. I feel like Cody had touched on it, and Britton, but had definitely have pushed our boundaries and like what we've done, and I think in the best way possible, and I think people are going to be really, really pleased with it.
And with new music coming out, what role and what feelings do you have about music streaming? Is it something that you care about, something that you think about after the fact, or something that's kind of a bonus?
I mean, I care about it because that's the future. I mean, it's not going away. Like that is the future of listening to music. So, I mean, with the streaming, I wish it like the artist maybe was in mind a little more, but
Yeah,
we'll
I mean
figure it
that's
out.
how I consume music now, at least, is like podcasts, Spotify, like all that kind of stuff. So I would be lying to say like I wish that people were just buying records all the time, which is nice, and we obviously appreciate that because that helps us out a lot. But yeah, I feel like it's just like Britton mentioned, just kind of have to roll with the punches in the way that the world and technology is developing. And I mean, people still stream our music all the time. Spotify helps because we get put on playlists and new people can check us out. People lift weights or like the metal playlist or whatever it might be on. So pros and cons, pretty much all of that.
Yeah, I mean, we were in a really good spot when that Music Modernization Act passed, and I think since then there's been some kickback on it. But really, the only downside, for us, like they said, is just like what I think is somewhat unfair compensation to the musicians and the producers and the writers that put their time into the song. And whereas back in the day, like selling records was an easy thing, like first weeks counted. And now, like we're in an era where huge bands are doing small first week numbers, and it's not because the band is necessarily dying. It's because everybody streams music now. You know what I mean? It also has to do with what genre you're in too, because like country music fans, they like don't really mess that much with streaming. It's all about buying the records. Where it's like metal, it's like stream. Hip hop, stream. Like it's all just kind of weird and relative to the genre. But yeah, I mean, like Chris said, like I had this app that shows us like what our streams are on Spotify and how many come from like playlists and whatever. And it's crazy how many will just come from a random playlist that somebody, whether it's like the Spotify official playlist or whatever it is. Like, it's very helpful, and you just like Chris said, you got to roll with the punches. Like, it's not in the best place for musicians now, but I think that we will get there. But for now, I mean, for a band like us that just wants to grow, like it's all about the exposure.
Easily
So we can't be
consumable, right.
can't be too mad about it.
I mean, just as CDs used to be what everyone bought, I think it'll find its way one way or another. Yeah, it'll find its way. When you play live, how often do you get the freedom or choose to experiment with the song, or how often do you make sure you play as fairly true to the recording as you can?
I feel like go ahead.
We are a band that, our number one goal is for you to come to the show and feel like you just heard the record as good, if not better, than live, because you can see and feel the energy of the song. So I think we're going to experiment with that coming up more in the future and kind of create moments. But, for the band that we've been for the past couple of years, it's all been about like supporting bands. So you got 30 minutes. So it's like, okay, we don't have time to drag this part out or whatever. But we do think about things, when we're writing songs, like, okay, cool, this would be a cool part live. Like whether it's like a singing back part, a clapping part, a jump part. Like we make sure that our show is very like crowd participant. But yeah, I mean, I think we're going to, now that we have more time and we're growing, like we'll have more time to experiment with songs. But as far as Wage War Live right now, you're hearing the record live.
We're trying to nail it every day.
We're trying to nail it, yeah.
Speaking of nailing it every day, how did you go about choosing your set list for Warped Tour versus a show that you are playing, a club show?
For me, it's just high energy. Everyone's out here to have fun, so it's just like high energy song after high energy song. So we just leave the kids with just like, oh man, that was really fun. So
I would agree. Yeah, we just try. 40 minutes. We have 2 records, so it's not like the biggest repertoire to pick from right now. So pretty much playing most popular songs that people enjoy the most. But like Britton said, like when it comes time to like those few songs in the set of like what do we want to throw in, like the oddballs. At least the conversations we had the last couple weeks was just like energy songs, like trying to give kids an opportunity to have fun out here. We're on the beach today. It's like literally paradise out there. So
we slammed 9 songs into 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's maximum bang for your buck if you want to see Wage War.
Yeah.
I like that. So it's the 25th anniversary of Warped Tour. For you as musicians or as someone who may have gone to a Warped Tour a long time ago, what does Warped Tour mean to you? What is sort of the legacy it leaves behind in your minds?
absolute honor. I went to it as a kid, not even in a band, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. And like seeing my heroes and all that, and then actually getting to play it with some of them, it's just been awesome. So.
I feel like this is a tour, or I know this is a tour I grew up coming to all the time that absolutely inspired me to want to be in a band, opened my eyes, like my ears, to all different types of music coming out here. It's like even today, there's heavy bands, there's pop bands, there's just every mix of it, and you get to see different people and different styles of music and musicians and how people perform on stage, and it's like an awesome melting pot of people. We've had the pleasure of playing it 2 separate times before this and made so many lifelong friends from this tour, and a lot of them are here today, which was so cool to see them and catch up. Kevin Lyman's been so nice to us to have us play. It's going to be one of those days, I think, where we'll play and then get to watch the bands at the end of the night, and you just try to like sit there, look at the water, like whatever, just reflect on where you're at, and so happy to be here.
On a less serious note, I have a brand new forehead since Warped Tour 2010.
Yeah.
I burned the whole thing off. Straight up, ginger life. But in all seriousness, I mean, like everything that they just said, like we grew up, like we're all pretty young, like we're just, middle 20s. Like it wasn't that long ago when we were all just like paying for tickets to come hang out and like go see our favorite bands. So we're the kind of guys that try to keep that perspective like at the forefront of everything that we do, and just kind of stay grateful to be here. We're so thankful to Kevin for asking us back again for a 3rd time, and he's just been so good to us over the years, and we're happy to come back and honor this absolute legend of a tour. So lots of friends, lots of good music. Like it's one of the best places in the world. There's so many people here. It's a place of acceptance. Like people that listen to this kind of music can often feel like an outcast, and it's kind of cool when you can come together and it's like, well, we're not the outcasts anymore. It's like this is a family. And I like every time, like every city you go to a Warped Tour, and then there's just like this sense of togetherness. There's people helping each other out, whether it's heat exhaustion or like whatever it might be. It's a great place, and there really isn't another tour like it. So, and there never will be, however long this goes on. So we're just honored to be here.
What's up next for you guys after Warped Tour?
We play another Warped Tour. Yeah, we play Mountain View in about a month. We play a festival called I Matter Festival that's in New York with Beartooth. Yep, self-help, and we'll have a record.
To be continued.
Yeah, we'll have a record come out later this year.
Lots of cool stuff.
And I'm
Wink,
sure,
wink.
yeah, I'm sure we'll be
did a
back on
thing.
tour shortly after that.
Well, stay tuned for much more from Wage War. This is Jackie. Thanks to In the Key of Change and Chorus FM.